Today we're going to talk about 3 things I learned from dating a bitch.
Jeg tror lige, jeg slukker den en gang.
Hi friends and welcome to wives.vs.world. I'm Jackie.
I'm Anya. And today we're going to make a video about 3 things.
3, 2, 1.
And today we want to talk about 3 things I learned from dating a trans person. So for those of you who don't know us already, we are a married couple, and I'm a cis person.
I'm a trans person.
And we've been together for more than 12 years. And we both came out as teenagers. And Jackie transitioned about a year into our relationship.
Yes, so none of this is like news to us. We've been doing it for quite a while. And I think along the way we've picked up some experiences and some knowledge.
Yeah, and a few things that we discovered together along the way.
Exactly.
So we thought that it would be a good opportunity to just put some of those thoughts out there.
So without further ado,
here are 3 things that I learned about life and myself from dating a trans person. So the first thing I learned from dating a trans person is that gender isn't set in stone.
okay, so back when we started dating, I had not yet transitioned, and I don't know if it was totally clear that that was gonna happen. So, like, your partner transitions, like, genders all over the place. How did that make you feel? Like, did that make you feel any different with regards to, like, your gender or, like, your gender presentation, stuff like that?
So I guess that somewhere along the way, it's an inevitable thought to think about what is a woman and what is gender, like it, because the second that we talk about transgender people, it's just we have to talk about the subject, right?
Yes.
What is gender and what does it mean to be a woman or whatever? And I don't think I thought much about it in the beginning or when we were young and stuff like that, but it hasn't been a question that I've thought about along the way. So it kind of prompts these thoughts about what does it mean to be a woman, or what is a woman? Because when we think about it, to me, if you just boil it down and say it's about genitals, I don't think that. I think it's weird. I think it's weird for me as a cis woman to be boiled down to my genitals, because I think it's like, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to be judged and perceived and put in a box because of whatever genitals I have. And I think it's a way too basic to look at it like that. To me, the thought that whatever genitals I have is what makes me a woman just makes me highly uncomfortable. So that's not what I think. So it's not that. Then what is it? It must be more than that, right? So is it the things I like? I don't think that either, because I think anyone can like anything, basically. So is it the things that I'm good at? No, I don't think that either. So basically it prompts some kind of nebulous thinking about what does it mean to be this or that, or what constitutes a gender or whatever, right?
All that from little old me?
Yeah. Basically, because, yeah, it definitely made me realize that gender is so much along the way a social construct. It's something that we kind of agree together is something that we can recognize within each other, based on some systems and patterns and preconceived notions of what people should be, basically, right?
So it's like the rules of a game, to put it simply.
Yeah, basically. And if you follow one set of rules, you'll be perceived this way, and you follow another set of rules, you'll be perceived another way, right? So, and I think if I hadn't had to think about those things from a pretty early age, I'm not sure I would have made those realizations as soon. It just made me think very differently about gender, because basically it boils down to what I think I've learned from it, that gender just doesn't mean anything to me. I don't think gender means anything. I don't understand it really. I don't think it makes sense to just partition people up into those 2 categories.
Like, now you have allegedly these genitals, therefore you have this type of personality, these interests, and these goals in life. Right? Isn't that basically...
That is what gender is, basically, right? Because the only thing we use it for is to, I want to say enforce sexism, but I think maybe that's a little harsh.
you had a lot of thoughts about that, but I'm guessing you also then realized pretty quickly that you could also do a lot of stuff with gender. Like you could actually play it in your own way.
Yeah, of course, because even before getting together with you,
Yeah.
I've always been attracted to like gender non-conforming artists and actors and stuff like that, characters in general. It's like these people clearly have a point of view. It just feels so appealing to me. All these thoughts about gender and what it means and how to be defined by it really came into context by discussing it all with you and stuff like that. You don't have to be either or. It doesn't have to be very strict. You can honestly do whatever you feel like. And I think that's really interesting.
I think maybe you recognize some of yourself in this like transgressive gender nonconformity.
Yeah, definitely, and not having to be defined by your gender, because I don't feel like I am.
So me transitioning and trying to figure out how to present and how to bear myself in this world, did that make you reconsider the way that you presented, like your kind of relationship to masculinity or femininity? Did it do anything to the way you bore yourself?
I think that's a really interesting question.
Thank you. Thought of it myself.
Well, even before we met, I've always dressed like hyper feminine, like specifically aggressively feminine things. And I don't think that you transitioning had any impact on my own appearance or gender expression. This was always a pretty deliberate choice for me, because I think it works on multiple levels. Like choosing to dress a certain way that is out of the norm, because dressing very feminine is out of the norm, especially here in Denmark where we are.
Just to set the scene, everyone in Denmark we wear jeans.
Yeah.
We wear dark, muted, preferably black. It's kind of drab. I love it.
And wearing dresses like on a daily basis isn't that common.
No, it's considered maybe a bit eccentric.
Yeah, probably, right? And I think that brand or whatever, the way I dress myself is also a part of my queerness, because I know it's never been a style that typically appealed a lot to men.
No.
I've been told that like you would be pretty if you didn't wear all that frilly stuff or something like that. It's a way to play with gender as well, right? To make it my own thing, and a part of my personality is dressing a little bit eccentric, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
If people can't see past what I'm wearing, then they probably aren't that worthwhile to talk to, honestly. And I also like proving myself, and I like proving people wrong. So whenever people make assumptions about me,
and they do,
they do, about the way I look, I like twisting what they thought they saw. Yeah. So I think actually you were more influenced by that in the beginning. Like you felt maybe a higher pressure to perform very feminine when you transitioned.
Yeah, I think so. I think I had some idea that in order to keep up with you, I also had to adopt a very very feminine expression. And it's not that I don't enjoy it, and it's not that I don't have that. It's just that I gravitate towards relaxed, more comfortable, maybe a bit more like tomboyish sort of styles. I like that a lot. I'm so butch.
You're so cute. The second thing is about sexuality. The thing I learned about sexuality is that I think it's more fluid than one should think. At least for me, I guess.
So me transitioning, you thought one thing and now it's a different thing. That did not change how you viewed yourself and your sexuality? Like you didn't have a moment where you went from, oh shit, I'm no longer, I don't know, straight or something. Now I'm a lesbian? Like, did you have anything like that?
Of course, it wasn't like that.
I know.
For me. Yeah, so even before we were together, I had I knew I wasn't straight. I had dated girls, and I knew I liked women as well. And as I said before, I've always been attracted to gender non-conformity, because it just adds a little spice that I just think is highly attractive. And our viewers don't necessarily know this, but you weren't a gender-conforming boy.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, at all. You're definitely my type. Small and cute and a lot of makeup, even before transitioning.
Exactly. My relationship to like the whole gender and gender presentation thing was I never felt that strongly about it until I found out I could actually be a woman. And I was like, I'm all about that shit. I'm gonna do that.
Exactly.
You know?
To me, it's definitely about like a personality type. A type of person with a point of view. You can see that they are interesting, and they are interesting people, right?
Yeah, they're breaking the mold. And...
Yeah, they're breaking the mold. I've always found that very attractive. So when I started dating you and you transitioned, it wasn't like a big surprise to me. And I didn't feel different because you were still the same person that I liked. And to me, it's always been about the person first. It's always the personality type first, and then whatever gender or eye color or hair color they have afterwards. That part of a person doesn't determine whether I'm interested in them or not. I didn't feel differently from you transitioning. And I guess for some people that means that just means I'm bisexual. I can like any person, right? But I just, so for some people it will be a huge deal if their partner
would transition.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, yeah.
Especially if you are and really like have the strong feeling of monosexuality, it will be like hard, I guess. But I never understood that.
No,
I can empathize, of course, I understand, but I can't relate.
No.
Because I don't feel that. I feel it's about the person. The other thing is just...
That spice.
That spice. Yeah, exactly. So to me, it doesn't make sense to judge based on gender first.
No.
Yeah. So I have a hard time relating to monosexuality. If that makes sense. The third thing I learned from dating a trans person is that it's not a big deal.
It's not that fucking hard.
It doesn't have to be a big deal to date a trans person.
Anyone could do it. You could do it.
And I want to preface it by saying that the answer or the explanation for this comes from a place of a lot of privilege. As I said, we live in Denmark, and this is generally a good place to be gay. I want to say it's generally pretty chill here. And even on top of that, Jay's transition hasn't been difficult. And of course you pass really well, meaning that people don't misgender you.
Yeah, I don't get a lot of shit just being, which makes it very easy to like just be.
Yeah, exactly. And of course it isn't like that for a lot of trans people. So it isn't to say anything about the general experience, it's just to say about how it's been for us. When that is said, if someone had come to me when I was 15, before we started dating, and asked me...
So, could you be with a trans person?
Yeah. I don't think I would have the answer. I wouldn't know, because I would be like, I don't know what that's like. That sounds hard, and based on all the media coverage, it sounds very complicated and all these things. And maybe that would make me apprehensive. Hesitant. It would make me hesitant, I guess, maybe.
English is not our first language, guys.
Sorry. But I wasn't asked that at that time. I didn't think about that before we started dating. It hadn't crossed my mind.
No, and suddenly you were in a relationship with me, and I sprung it on you.
Yeah, exactly. And then it was just like that, you know? Then we dealt with that. It wasn't difficult. It wasn't weird. It just was, you know?
And I think we figured out a lot of things together, because I didn't know shit, and you didn't know shit. So it was like, what does it mean to be a trans person? What does it mean to be with a trans person?
Yeah, exactly. There was no resources back then at all. So we kind of had to navigate it all ourselves, and yeah, we did that along the way. I just think that it is worth saying that it doesn't have to be a big deal, because it wasn't. Yeah, mostly because of course your transition went pretty easily, right? It wasn't like But also, like, since people have known us, they know we're together, sometimes they figure out years later that you're a trans person and they didn't know. People generally don't care that much, I guess, right?
No.
I think that's a valuable lesson.
It's like, one thing to take away from this is that we might not be able to change or hold sway over how the outside world views trans people. You yourself have some power in, if you have a child or a parent or a good friend or like someone you know, a sibling, whatever, a partner tells you they want to transition, what you have some say in is how you react and how you help them in that transition. And like, as Anya said, you can learn a whole lot of shit about yourself from doing that.
And though, like, we may be us close to a trans person, we might be scared for them, the trouble they may face and stuff. It doesn't have to be a big deal within that relationship, because it's still the same person that you're sitting with. When we hear all these things about trans people, there can be a lot of hypotheticals, right? And you start to think, could I handle all these things?
Oh, it's going to be so difficult.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be...
But you can still approach it with a chill mind.
That was a mouthful.
It sure was. And of course, we have so much to say on this topic, both about queerness and being trans and dating while trans and
yes, exactly,
all these things. And we want to talk much more about that in future videos. But if you have something specific that you want to ask about all these experiences, or a topic that you want us to delve into, then please leave a comment and tell us about it. Then we will prioritize that. Otherwise, all our thoughts will come in later videos.
Yes, there will be a stream of consciousness, just like waves. That scene in Spirited Away, like no face. That's gonna be our content on you.
Exactly. This is our first installment in kind of dipping our toes into talking about all these topics that we're really passionate about and we want to talk about.
But which are difficult to talk about.
They are difficult to talk about, and until now we've just sort of found our footing, tried this whole YouTube thing out. But now we want to talk about something a little bit more substantial.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if you like this kind of content, you can subscribe for more.
You can subscribe for more.
You can subscribe for more. It's true. And if you like the video, you can give it a thumbs up or leave a nice comment below. Yeah, that's it. We hope to see you next time. No, yeah. And if you want to see more of us, you can find us on Instagram. Mine is this one. Jackie is this one. Our joint one is this one. And we hope to see you next time. Bye! Number 3 thing I learned about dating... Number 3 thing I learned from dating...
Third thing?
Number 3.
Number 3 thing.
I would have told it! I had dated a girl and I liked women.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah. You know?
I like girls.
I like turtles.